Hello and welcome back to the Wizards Arena. This is our final day of Kaldeim Spoilers. First up, we got the Battleshield Warrior, 2 and a white for a 2/2 human warrior with boast of a colorless and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 to end of turn. You can only use this when you attack. This is better, I feel, than some of the boast things I've seen. It's really good in, I feel like, draft, because at uncommon you have a chance of picking up a couple in your draft pool. But I don't think you'll see much standard play. But it's an okay card for an uncommon. So that means it gets a 5. Next up we have Cosmic Intervention. Instant 3 and a white with Foretell. If a permanent you control will be put into a graveyard from the battlefield, this turn exile it instead. Return to the battlefield under your owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So this is a blink for 4. Except it's limited that the thing has to be going to the yard. I guess it's okay. Like, it's not the most exciting thing. It's one of the commander deck cards, so it's fine. So I'll give this one also a 5. Next up we have, and this one's going to be a long video, I'm sorry folks, there's just a lot of cards they threw at us all at the end here. Doomscar. 3 and 2 white, destroy all creatures. And everybody lost their mind, like, oh my god, it's a 3-mana wrath. No. It's a 5-mana wrath that you can cast on turn 3. You still have to invest a mana on turn 2 in order to be able to foretell it for 3. Like, it's still good, don't get me wrong, but god, people, like, it's 3 mana on turn 3, so you have to tap out all of turn 2 and all of turn 3 to have it work on turn 3. Still good. Your opponent gets no advantages from it, but neither do you. I feel like it's only a 7. If you do have somehow the other foretell cards out, that means you're casting this later in the game to make it cheaper. So it's okay. It's not junk. You know, it's just not a 3-mana wrath, which is what everybody seems to be latching onto and losing their mind. They forget that the foretell cost is the second part. You have to exile it, then cast it. Moving on. We have Glorious Protector. 2 and 2 white for an angel, flying and flash. When she enters the battlefield, exile any number of non-angel creatures you control until Glorious Protector leaves the battlefield. So the wrath is going off, you flash her in, she dies, then everybody comes back and you go, yay, our team won. It lived through all this mess. She's a cleric, which we need more clerics. So she's really sweet. I like her. But she's very situational, so she gets a 6. Next up, we have Hero of Brittagra. Sorry if I murdered that. 2 and a white for a 1/1 human warrior from the commander set. Whenever you exile 1 or more cards from your hand and or permanents you control from the battlefield, put that many +1/+1 counters on the hero. Okay, as long as it has 5 or more counters on it. It has fly-in and is an angel also. As long as she has 10 or more, she has indestructible and is a god also. Okay, this is a growing thing. It's neat. Not overpowered or anything like that. Gets a 5. Solid. Next up, we have Resplendent Marshall. Colorless and 2 white, flying 3/3. When it enters battlefield, you may exile another creature card from your graveyard. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on her. I mean, each creature. We've seen her before. This is just a sweet extended art, alternate art thing. Just wanted to show off the new art. It's looking awesome. Next up we have Rune of Sustenance. We finally got a few more runes. Colorless and a white, enchant a permanent. And does the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted permanent is a creature that gets lifelink. Enchanted permanent is an equipment. It has equipped creature has lifelink. So for 2 mana, you're cantripping and handing out lifelink. Pretty good. We know there's the guy that reduces the cost of runes. So yeah, this is fine. Seems like a 6 because it cantrips. Makes it a little bit better than the 5 for an uncommon. Next up, we have Stoic Farmer. A Dwarf Peasant from the commander deck. 3 and a white. When it enters the battlefield, search for a basic plains card and reveal it. If an opponent controls more than land, put it on the battlefield tapped, otherwise put it in the hand. Cool, so no matter what's shaken, we get a basic land, basic plains. Oh, no, we get a plains card. It's not even basic. Oh, no, it is basic, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. More ways to help white keep up. I really feel like they should figure out some way for white to get ahead, but whatever. Next up, yeah, it's a 5. Next up, we have Foster Auger. A blue for 1/2 human wizard snow creature. Spend the snow, look at the top card of your library. If it's a snow card, reveal it and put it in the hand. I like this guy a lot. You don't have to discard, you just, get to know what the top card of your deck is. Worst case scenario, best card case, you draw a card. Sure. I like this effect a lot better than having to ditch a card to get the card. So this is a 7, I think. I guess we'll see some standard play. We'll just have to see here. Next up, we have Icebind Pillar. Sounds like it's going to be the standard effect of tapping the thing down. 2 and a blue snow artifact. Spend the snow, tap target artifact or creature. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing amazing. Yeah, I'll give it a 5. It's not garbage, but, it's a standard draft card you kind of need. Just because I won't see playing standard doesn't mean it's terrible. Ice Breaking Kraken. That looks like a lot of mana. It is a lot of mana. 10 and 2 blue for an 8/8. Snow creature Kraken. Blah. This spell costs 1 less for each snow lands you control. Okay. When he enters the battlefield, artifacts and creatures target opponent controls don't untap during that player's next untap step. Return 3 snow lands you control to their owner's hand. Bounce them back to your hand. Okay. They're kind of cool in a Simic deck. Play extra lands. Keep bouncing them back. And the key thing here to note is that it doesn't tap stuff. It has to be tapped. But let's think here. If this is 10 plus 2 is 12. So if I have 6 mana out, 6 snow lands out, on turn 6 I can play this big 8/8 goofball. Sure. It's good. It doesn't break the bank. It's a 7. Sounds good to me. Next up, we have Graven Lore. Okay. Snow Instance. 3 and 2 blue. Scry X, where X is the amount of snow you spend to cast a spell, then draw 3. Okay. We'll be nice and say you only get to spend 3 mana. That's snow on this. At an instant speed, so at instant speed you scry 3, draw 3. That sounds really good. That sounds super in Commander. I guess this is going to be an 8. It's really solid. I think, especially with snow looking like it's going to be viable in Commander, it's going to get shoved in a lot of things. And especially if you get to do 4 or 5 scry, that's awesome. Next up we got Orvar the All-Form. 3 and a blue for a legendary shapeshifting changeling. There's a 3/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if it targets one or more permanents you control, create a token that's a copy of one of those permanents. Whenever a spell ability you control causes you to discard cards, create a token that's a copy of target permanent. This is very interesting. So like in a Simic build, you could buff your team. Or in an Izzet build, you can buff your team and make more permanents. And if your opponent is making you discard stuff, this will prevent it because they don't want you to make copies of dudes you have out in play. So it's a good against the mirror build. So yeah, I really like this guy. Like, he needs things to work with him on his own. He's just a 3/3 dude, but he's really good. I'll give him an 8. Next up, we have Sage of the Beyond. Spirit Giant from the Commander decks. Seems like we're getting more stuff in the Commander decks than the usual 3. 5 and 2 blue for 5/5 flying. Spells you cast from anywhere other than your hand cost 2 less to play. Interesting. Okay, so this lets our foretell spells cost less. It doesn't affect companions because it's moving into your hand, so that doesn't work. So the big thing is this goes in a white-blue foretells build of making stuff cheaper. So I feel like this 4 because it's really expensive. I mean, you could get out with Foretell for 6. No, 7. So, it's okay. It goes in the Foretell deck that you can make with the commander stuff. Next up, we got Spectral Deluge. And this is the thing, is we're getting all the commander rares that we didn't have before, plus the end of the Kaldeim set. 4 and 2 blue, return each creature your opponents control with toughness X or less to its owner's hand, where X is the number of islands you control. This is sweet. This is another version of Engulf the Shorelines, except you're paying a little more mana and only hitting their stuff, not yours, so you can just swing in and murder them. And unlike Cyclonic Rift, because like the advantage of this is you can just smash people. I like it a lot. And unlike Cyclonic Rift, it's not going to cost you $25 to purchase this card. I like it. You know, it's solid. I'll give it a 6 because it's good late game. It's not good always. Next up, we got... Trying to get this... Tales of the Ancestors. Another commander card. Trying to get through this stuff fast, guys. Okay. 3 in a blue. Each player with fewer cards in hand than the player with the most cards in hand draws cards equal to the differential. Okay. Sure. Kind of cool on Necrosar deck also. Solid middle of the road card. Not breaking anything. You know, pretty cool. Foretell. Goes in the Foretell deck. Next up, we have... Dream Devourer. I like him. Colorless and a black for 0/3. Each non-land card in your hand without Foretell has Foretell. Its Foretell cost is equal to the mana cost -2. Whenever you foretell a card, Dream Devourer gets +2/+0 till end of turn. The only problem with this guy is he's black. Everything else we've seen to help foretell decks is white-blue. So unless you can find an Esper commander that you want to build around, like Nevron, or I don't know, like it's just really awkward because all the really good the foretell stuff is white and blue, not black. So it's just a little awkward. He's not blue. So because of that reason, he's a 5. If he was like, you know, a giant demon or something weird like that where he was blue somehow, then it'd be a lot higher. As a result, he's only a 5. Next up, we have Rune of Morality. Okay. We saw what the white one did. Let's see what this one does. Uncommon, colorless, and a black. This is also cantrips. Good. Creature gets death touch or the equipment has. Give a thing death touch. Yeah, that sounds great. Death touch is sweet. Especially on certain things. Fair. Solid uncommon, it's a 6. Next up, we have Ruthless Whiner, something like that. This thing is sweet. 3 and 2 black for 4/4. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacks a non-elf creature. So it's like Uron for vampires, or the Abyss effect. So I really like these kinds of effects. If you don't play elves, I'm gonna like make you sack stuff, and with Grave Pack and stuff like that, it can get out of hand quickly. So in Tribal Elf, it's like an 8. Outside of Tribal Elf, it's not that good, but why would you be running it? You know, it's either in an elf deck or it's not. Next up, we got Pact of the Serpent. Another commander thing. 2 black and a colorless for 3. So we got a 3-mana thing. Choose a creature type. Target player draws X cards and loses X life for X number of creatures they control of the type. Well, this is going to be in everything that's tribal that has black. Place your orders now. It's never going to be any cheaper than what places are charging now. Don't wait. It's going to end up being like Kindred Domination and all this stuff where it starts off cheap and after a couple weeks it might go down a little bit, but then it's just going to be like a straight line going all the way up. This in any tribal deck, it's an 8. It's a slam dunk. Vampires, zombies, elves, demons, I can't even begin to guess all the things. Fairies, merfolk, yeah, like there's clerics. There's some right off the top of my head for black. I know I missed some. Next up, we have Serpents Soldier. Okay. 2 and a black artifact for commander deck. Whenever an elf you control dies, exile it. Tap, pay 2 life until end of turn. You may cast a creature card from among cards exiled with a Serpent Soldier. Sure. Sold. Sign me up. Again, it's very elf specific. You want to play in anything but an elf deck? I'll give it a 6. Because it's paying 2 life in addition to the cost of the elf, but you know, if you draw it, it's great. If not, you know, like any of these things, especially in Commander. Vengeful Reaper. Uncommon 3 and a black. Oh baby. Keyword soup, flying and death touch, haste, foretell. Yeah, sure. And it's a cleric. Okay. The keyword soup black card. I'll give it a 7. It's a really good uncommon. Does all kinds of crazy things. Next up, we have Way Down. Oh, what is that, Dreamwar? You're talking about a common? Yeah, this one's sweet. Black, target creature gets -3/-3, additional cost to cast a spell, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Seems really good. Like it a lot. You know, it's one of the few comments I've mentioned before. So, because we're mentioning, it means it's really good. Arnari Broken Brow. Two in a red, hasted 3/3. Boast 1. You may change Anari's Broken Bell's base power to 1+ Grace Among power other creatures you control until end of turn. See, this is a good boast ability. I like this a lot. I'll give him a 7. Especially since he has haste, so for 4 mana he can do some silly things. Next up we have Brittagra's God of Storytelling. 2 in a red. See, look, she's got like long hair in this picture, so isn't a goddess or I don't know, people. 2 and a red for a 3/3. Whenever you cast a spell, add a ready mana pool. Any red spell? Any spell. Wow. Okay. That's sweet. Creatures you control can boast twice during each of your turns, rather than once. Okay, that's alright. You know, because some of those boasts have been very unexciting. But this is just crazy. You can drop lots of like 1 or 2 cost things in a turn. Like, this is crazy with goblins. It's like, oh, well, this goblin makes all the goblins cost 1 less mana. I like it a lot. The backside is the Harnfield Horn of Bounty. Okay. 4 and a red, discard a card, exile the top 2 cards of the library. You may play those cards this turn. Sounds good here too. So you get to get rid of a useless land late game and potentially hit something you need. Yeah. Making stuff cheaper. I mean, not cheaper. Giving you mana to float through turns. Have this out to synergize with it. Because it seems like all the guards when front and back are up are amazing. But the mana going through turns for red is just crazy. That's an 8. Really close to a 9. If you got both of these out, it's a 9. It's just so good. Next up, we have Broomscar Titan. Sounds like a giant to me. 4 and 2 red for a giant berserker. Berserker. Okay. When Doomstar Titan enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+0 and haste to end of turn. So he's a 5/4 haste. Okay. He's got Foretell, 5. He just seems very average. Like, I'll give him a 4. I feel like there's better things Red could be doing late game than this guy. Next up, we have Dwarven Hammer. Continuing this series of things that make dudes. 2 and a red. When the hammer enters the battlefield, pay 2. If you do, make a 2/1 red dwarf berserker token and slap the hammer on him. Okay. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has +3/+0 and has trample. Equip of 3. Yeah, it's a solid little equipment. The creature's cheaper than the other ones, so I'd give it a 7. Next up, because the other ones were like 5s and 4s and 3s, so this is the best so far, I feel. Frenzied Raider, another giant. Yes, no, it's a demon berserker. Ooh. Colorless and a red for a 2/2. Okay. Whenever you activate a boast ability, put a +1/+1 counter on the Raider. Okay, this makes boast a little bit better, because there's a low end thing that profits off of it. Yeah, he's like a 6. If there's going to be a boast deck, he'll be a 7. So if boast does a thing, he's a 7. If not, because he is 2 for 2/2. Next up, we have a Rune of Speed. We're doing speed now. Colorless and a red, draw a card. No downside. As long as enchanted permanent as a creature gets +1/+0 in haste. And equipment gets +1/+0 in haste. Probably could have been +1/+1 and it would have been fine, but whatever. So if we place in Buffing and Hasten. Sure, that's a 6. Actually, maybe 7, because red doesn't usually get straight up card draw. Blessing of Frost. Yeah, I know. Looks like we've had him before. But that was the guy facing the other way with a stick in the other hand. This is a snow sorcery, not a creature. 3 and a green. Distribute X +1/+1 counters. Any number of creatures you control where X is the amount of snow you spend. Then draw a card for each creature you then control with power 4 or greater. Sure. So 4 +1/+1 counters and then drawing some cards. Yeah, I mean, it's a fine little rare. It's a 6. Don't think it's going to get running standard that much. It's pretty solid in Commander. We already got lots of effects like this. If this is going to be a snow deck for Commander, this will get slapped in it. It's great. Next up we have Bounty of Rue Skemfar. I'm sorry if I butchered the name. 2 and a green sorcery. Reveal 6. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped and an elf card from among them into your hand. Wow. Okay. This is 1 for 2, not 1 for 1. And it's a deep dig of 6. Okay. Yep. Sold. This is an amazing card. Obviously, it goes in all the elf decks. It's an 8. And it even goes into mono green. Yeah, it's a 9. Because green elf decks also get to run this. You don't have to splash black. So I'll go in my green elf deck for Commander. Next up, we have, come on down, the Crown. Two and 2 green for an enchantment or woof. Enchant a creature. Gets +1/+1 for each elf you control and has reach. Wow. That's pretty sweet. 2 and a green. Return it from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, that's nice. It costs a lot, but it's doing a lot. But it costs a lot, but you're playing elves. I'll give it a 6. Like if it was 3 green, I think it would be a lot better. But I understand they didn't want to shoot over the moon. Next up, we have Elven Bow. Pew pew pew. 1 green. When Elven Bow enters the battlefield, you may pay 2. If you do, make a 1/1 elf warrior and attach it. +1/+2 and reach. Yeah. Green can't reach too often. Really cheap like the red one was to make a dude. So I'll give it a 7 because having reach is a very nice keyword for green. Next up, we got more cards. Oh, baby. Finn the Fang Bearer. Ugh. Okay. Colorless and a green 1/3 Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. Lots of people hate this card online with like trample and all that stuff that's in green. They're already complaining about the fact that 10 poison counters kill you and infect and all this stuff. I don't know if the EDH rules committee is going to make it 20 because it's going to be so easy to do a ton of poison counters because he can be your commander. I mean, originally when poison was introduced back when I started playing, you had 20 life, so 10 was half your life, so nobody cared, nobody complained. And this guy giving basically all you guys the ability to do poison, I can see it making a lot of people salty. If the rules committee does not change the rule, I understand. If they do, I understand. And remember, Commander is for you to play with your friends. And if you want it to be 20, just make it 20. Like, nobody will be upset. You know, the whole point of Commander is to have fun. Will this get used in Standard? Maybe. Like, he is a really solid body. It just depends on how many Death Touch things there are in Standard. A lot of them are red. There was that red-black rogue. So if you make a party deck work that's Jund, maybe. As a commander, I give him an 8. In Standard and everything else, he's like a 6. Next up, we have the Glade Warden. Okay, baby. What do you got? 3 in a green, creature shapeshifter, uncommon, changeling. 2 in a green, exile creature card from your graveyard. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. Activate as a sorcery. So it wants to be a scavenger news, but help other things. Not itself. So yeah, it's fine. It's an uncommon. It's middle of the road uncommon. It's a 5. Nothing to write home about. Rootless You. You got it. 3 and 2 green, 5/4. Why is it got reach? It's a tree folk. All tree folk can go like this and block everything in the air. All tree folks have reach. Okay. What do? When it dies, search your library for a creature card with power or toughness 6 or greater. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. Sure. Self-replacing. Fine. It's a 5. What would be crazy is if it was like 6 mana and it did it when it EBT'd and it died. But I understand. It's an uncommon. It's got to be a little weaker. Next up, we have Rune of Might. Oh, baby. We're getting to see the runes, and there ain't many of them. So I don't know why they bothered, but whatever. They could have just had them been ores with a sub-theme rune and not had the buffing of the runes, but whatever. Colors in a green. Draw a card. +1/+1 trample. Sure. Sold. For 2 mana, I can give a good thing trample. And +1/+1. Quest and Beast says high. 7. Pretty solid. Okay, we'll get into the last of the rare auras, because we seem to have gotten one of every color and uncommons. Saga. Colors a white and a blue. Make a 1/1 birdie and gains 2 life. Step 2. Whenever one or more creatures you control with flying deals combat damage to a player this turn, look at a player's hand and draw a card. Sweet. Gain intel. And cantrip. Taken. And then 3. You may put a card you own from outside the game on top of your library. Okay, so go get a thing from your sideboard now that you know what their hand is and own them. Yeah. That's sweet. I give it an 8. Intel gained. Threat gained. Ownage. Sure. All these cards that let you access your sideboard in the best of 1 is really good. We have a white-blue Spirit Angel Commander card from the deck. Or theme deck, or whatever they're calling them. 4 a white and a blue flying Ethereal Valkyrie, 4/4. For 6, Spirit Angel. Enters the battlefield or attack, draw a card, then exile a card from your hand face down. It becomes Foretell. Okay, so here's the version of the demon for white and blue. Yeah, I like this one a lot. 7. Sweet. Actually, it's a 6. It does cost a lot of mana to cast, where the demon was cheaper. But I like it. Next up, we have King Nefera's Betrayal. Okay, here's the blue-black saga we didn't have yet. They all seem to cost about 3 mana. Colors, a blue and a black. Each player mills 4, then you may exile a creature card or walker card from each graveyard. Step 2 and Step 3. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among the exiled cards. And spend mana as if it was mana of any color to cast those spells. Sure. Sounds great. Give this a 7. It's awesome if you hit something. And if not, it's but it's really good. Next up, we have a Vampire Dragon. Okay, 2 a black and a red, flying 3/3. When it becomes tapped, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard and put a +1/+1 counter on it. Exile anything. Okay. Sack another creature. He gets indestructibility to end of turn and tap it. Yeah. Reminds me a lot of Yahenni from Kaladesh. Okay. Yeah, he's pretty solid. I'll give him a 7. The advantage is he can eat anything. And it's any graveyard. Black-red legendary, rare saga. 1. Create 2/3 red demon berserker token with menace. 2. Whenever a berserker attacks his turn, draw a card and you lose a life. So you can refill your hand. 3. Add a red to your mana pool. For each berserker you control until end of turn, you don't lose mana at the end of steps and phases. Oh yeah. These sagas are good. The rare sagas are good. I'm so glad they continued sagas from Dominaria. They just didn't only do them there and in Theros. The red, green, but it doesn't cost 3? That's because it's uncommon, folks. What do we got? Step 1, fight. Step 2, add a red and put 2 +1/+1 counters on a dude you have. Step 3, you gain life equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. That's okay. I'll give that like a 6. It's a pretty solid little fight card. Arana, Slayer of the Trolls. Sure. Next up we have a red-green uncommon legend. Guess we're finishing out this cycle too. Colors are red and a green for a snow creature. It's legendary. The Troll Warrior, 2/4. 3 tap, create a colorless snow artifact token named Icy Manolith. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Okay, so make a Manolith, okay. 6 a red and a green. Oh dear lord, that's a lot of mana. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. Well, that's a nice ability. If you made a couple of these snow artifacts ahead of time, potentially you just use him and the snow artifacts you made. Yeah, pretty good for a little uncommon. And of course, you can always go with the analogy, well, if I had a Seaborn Muse, I could crank out the snow tokens like crazy. But that's just crazy with Having to say, oh, if I use Seaborn Muse, it's amazing. I'll give it a 6. It's a solid legend to build around. Good for new beginner players. Next up, we got the green-white version. Uncommon legend. 2 green and 2 white. 5 mana for a 2/3. What? Legendary creature. She's a human warrior. Other creatures you control get +1/+1 whenever land enters the battlefield under your control. Make a 1/1 human warrior token. White, green landfall. And you get to make all kinds of tokens with her. You can probably find cheap now like March of the Multitudes. Because they rotate out of standard. Karametra. There's some just cheap additions I can think of offhand. So that's sweet. So she's really good. I like her. I'd give her a 7. She's solid. Next up, enemy colors? Yes, enemy colors. Ascent of the Worthy. A colorless, a white, and a black. Step 1 and Step 2. Choose a creature you control until end of turn. All damage that would be dealt to creatures you control is dealt to that creature instead. Okay. Step 3. Return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a flying counter on it. That creature is an angel warrior in addition to its other types. So this is taken in for the team. Attack with everything. He dies. 2 turns later. I'm back. I'm reborn. Okay. Sweet. I like this guy. Pretty good for an uncommon. I'll give it an 8. Next up, we have Elder Fang Venom. This is from like their theme deck or whatever. 2, a black and a green. So that's a lot of mana. Attacking elves you control have Death Touch. Oh, jeez 'em. There's that elf that gives all your elves trample. So this is crazy. Death Touch and trample just are ridiculous. Whenever an elf you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And it has the Blood Artist ability. Sure. Well, in Tribal Elf, I'll give it a 7 because it's black and green. If it was, could go in mono green all by itself, it'd be higher, but it requires black. Next up, we have the 3 Seasons. Almost sounds like a bad hotel chain. Not the 4 Seasons, the 3 Seasons. Green and a blue for an uncommon saga. Step 1, you mill 3 cards. Step 2, return 2 target snow permanent cards from the graveyard to hand. Step 3, choose 3 cards in each graveyard. Their owners shuffle them back. I mean, if you've exiled a lot of their cards in their graveyard, this is fine. It's okay as it is, anyhow. It's okay. You know, it's like a 5. Nothing amazing. Pretty solid. Next up, we have the Colossal Plow. I'm so big. I'm a big plow. 2 for 6/3. Holy shnikes. Uncommon, whenever a Colossal Plow attacks, add 3 white and gain 3 life. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana. Every color can have this ability. That's shows next to green, white and red. Okay. Crew 6. Okay then. That's a big plow. Pretty cheap with a big crew number. And gives you mana and life. Give it a 7, since this is the first time we've seen white have this mechanic of, again, to keep mana through phases. but I'm not sure how good it will be in Standard or anything else. Next up, we have Cosmo Elixir. 4. Beginning of your end step, draw a card. If your life total is greater than starting life total. Otherwise, gain 2 life. So theoretically, you're going to get ahead of your starting life total at some point and start drawing. If you're playing Commander in a Pillow Fort deck, this is going to happen real easy. I like it. It's pretty sweet. I will give it a 7. It might even be useful in Standard with white life gain decks. We'll just have to see. But in Standard, I think it would be a little lower. But I like it. What do we got next? We got Snowlands, a common one. What do you do? Shimmer Drift Veil. Comes into play tapped. Choose a color. Tap, add that color. Sold. Sign me up. You know, another type of Snowland. Fixing your mana. Makes Snow Commander possible. It'll make some other things possible, probably in Standard. For like, if you want to play 3 colors or 2 colors. Seems solid. You know, it's just a very good common no land. I'll give it a 5. Next up, we have the Tiger Sanctum. Okay. What's this land do? Tap for colors. Spend 2 and tap it. Target legendary creature becomes a god in addition to its other types. Give it a +1/+1 counter. 4. Sack it. Put an indestructible counter on target god. Okay. So all the gods we've had that in this set, most of them aren't indestructible. So you get to buff them by making them indestructible, or you get to make the other creatures that you have out into gods. Sure. Sounds neat. Give it a 7. It's okay. Better than okay. Solid. Next up, well, we're getting the last of these lands that for 2 colors they do a thing. This is the black-red. Turnum Skull Crane. Enters tapped. Tap for black. Colors are black, 2 red, sack it. 3 damage to a player. That player discards a card. Activate as a sorcery. 2 red to bolt the guy. It's pretty normal on non-lightning bolt things because they won't do that anymore. Plus, you're getting a discard. It's a little overpriced. You probably won't get running Commander because Commander players don't like the whole discard idea. I think it's the weakest we've seen. Maybe the blue-red is just as weak, but it's a 5. Next up, what do we got? The Great Hall. This is the white-black one. Tap for a black, enters tapped. 2 white and a black, sack it. Create a 4/4 Angel Warrior token with flying and vigilance. Well, that's a deal. You know, normally an Angel token would be like 4 mana. So we're getting that actually a cheap premium. I like it a lot. This is probably the best one we've seen. Not overall, but this one might see Standard play. It's really good. I'll give it a 7. Next up, we have the last one, the green-blue land. Comes into play tap for blue, 2 green, a blue, sack it. Create a token that's a copy of a creature control. except it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So 2, 3, 5 mana to clone and put a +1/+1 counter on it as a land. Oh, 4 is what a clone used to count as a green extra for a +1/+1 counter. Yeah, this is pretty good. Give it a 6. It's solid. You can see it in Commander, stuff like that. Standard, probably not. Next up, what do we got? We got the Inspiring Sphinx. This is one of those mythical cards from the command decks. Flying, enters the battlefield, draw cards equal to the number of opponents you control. 7 for 5/5. 3 in a blue, create a Thopter token with flying. You can do it as many times as you want. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Goes nice in the Sphinx decks. The Sphinx commander makes it cost 2 less. I'll give it a 6. It's solid. Next up, what do we got? We got one of those elf commander cards. 4 and 2 green elf warrior 4/4. Beginning of each upkeep, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. It's going to make that green black commander go crazy. Whenever another elf enters the battlefield under your control, gain life equal to its toughness. Sure, that's silly, but okay. I'll give this guy a 8 because he can go in mono green elves and green black elves. Next up, we got Righteous Valkyrie. We've seen her before. This is just her sweet, better extended art and not as blurry down here. They're using this same clause here. 7 life more than starting total, so it's not like Sarah's Ascendant, which is terrible in Commander. It should be like either rewarded, like our group does, or just banned. It's just awful to play against. Next up we have... Oh, that's it. Well, my name's been Draymore with the Wizards Arena. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is the end of our Kaldeim previews. This set looks sweet. I'll see you guys in the next video. Please comment below, and you all have yourselves a great day.